Hey guys, Possible here. So, I'm bringing you a video on how to improve your ping, and this is especially important for Australian or overseas users, especially when you're trying to connect to, say, North American servers located in Dallas, Texas. It becomes a bit of an issue. It has quite a pronounced effect on DPS, which is a real issue, unfortunately. But I hope that this will improve the situation for you and hopefully improve your Blade and Soul experience overall. Now, something you want to just bear in mind though, before we get into any of this, anything we're going to be essentially working on today, is you're going to have to get an Ethernet connection to your router. If you don't have one already and you are relying on Wi-Fi, I recommend you next day on that immediately. The part of the problem is that Wi-Fi connections tend to have interference. Even if you're sitting right next to the router, you can still have interference in the signal, which causes packet loss, which eventually results in having to resend packets, which increases your ping and yada yada. So you want to eliminate that first. So if you haven't done it already, go and do that now. But when it comes to everything else, we'll get into that. So first of all, you probably already heard people talking about VPN services. Well, first thing I want to say, no, you won't get banned for using VPN. Just bear in mind, if something goes wrong, anything at Blade and Soul support, they will not help you. They won't help you. There's no support on their end for this kind of thing. You'll have to find some other way of dealing with any issue pertaining particularly to Ping Zapper or What the Fast. Although, I'm going to say it now, to be perfectly honest, do not use What the Fast. I don't like the service, not because it's got horrible support or anything like that, but when I tried to use the most efficient server for performance with Blade and Soul, I could not connect. I had to use one of the less efficient ones, which just made my ping, I think it was about 300 milliseconds? That's awful. It doesn't improve anything. When I tried to use the other one, for whatever reason, as soon as you got to the actual point where you had to put in your actual security pin, you couldn't get past it because the server wouldn't connect up. Whether this is an IP ban with that particular server or too many people using it, I don't know. But however, it wouldn't work and I don't recommend it, and it's also more expensive too. So not only do you get a shittier service for Blade and Soul, you're paying more for the privilege. What kind of retard would do that? Don't do it. The one I found really good at the moment is Ping Zapper. Not only is this cheap, I think it's about $4 from memory. It's you got the option of also you can send your link to other people. For example, I could send mine, and if you were to sign up with mine, I get an extra 30 days, and you get an extra 30 days. So everyone benefits. It's cheaper, and it's also got one of the best connections I've actually found. I think the one I'm using particularly now is called Dallas 4, and it's at 185. How about that? Better than the shit I was getting from What the Fast. So, like I said, don't use What the Fast. Next guy on that too. I tried the trial, it's not good. And I've heard some stories where like the chat will stop working. What's the point? Anyway, it's probably because it's just popular. It's good. It may be good for World of Warcraft, but it's absolutely atrocious for Blade and Soul. So anyway, once you got that, there's all out the way. You've got downloaded these particular programs. You will need to Google and download Namebench. Get that. Make sure you have it. We'll be running that first. Just run it. Set it to 1,000 queries. Include censorship checks and make sure these are all ticked. I'm blanking this information out for the protection of my own computer, but I hope you understand. I'll be blanking that out as well. And I'll just show you quickly. Alright, and I'm going to show you the information here. Now, this here, I'll be blanking out some of this information, but I'll show you what is important. I'll show just up here. You want the information, the IP addresses of the primary server and secondary server once the actual search is done. What essentially we're doing here, particularly, is to eliminate packet loss or minimize the packet loss by getting the most efficient and most stable DNS server available and routing that. You can put it into your router settings, but personally I recommend just doing it for the computer itself because it's less hassle. Unfortunately, every time because you will routinely have to occasionally redo this process as your connection deteriorates. Largely, it's probably because the packet, there's going to be something going on between you and the servers. So what you want to do is eventually run this again to get the server that has the most stable and the most minimal loss of packet loss. Essentially, you want most of your packets getting to the server without any issues, and not have your computer continuously routinely having to resend information, which obviously increases the need to, for it to respond, or ping. You don't want that. So occasionally you'll have to do this, so I recommend only doing it through your adapter settings. Now, if you're a Windows 10 user, please do recommend, just tell me in the comment section below. I don't use Windows 10, and I'm going to be fighting tooth and nail until I absolutely have to use that piece of garbage. I think one of the most disgusting moves by Microsoft is the creation of a quote-unquote service, which is to say they want to starve its user base for more money. And for something that you know how much money it cost? It cost a fortune for businesses when it first came out, because it fucked up drivers for printers. It's absurd. What a piece of garbage. Which is why we use Windows 7. So if you are a Windows 10 user, do let me know in the comment section. I'll have a look at I'll look into it to figure out where you need to go, because they always, for whatever reason, it's kind of like universities where they change their websites and make it so difficult to do something it should be simple. No one gives a fuck what it looks like, just let me do my job. But unfortunately, so they'll put things in all sorts of places, so I'll find where to go in the system to get what you need. So essentially what you want to do is go to Control Panel, and you'll be looking for, if it doesn't take me forever to find that fucking option, Network Sharing Center. There we go. And change adapter settings. I'll be blanking some of this information out again. The one you're looking for is Internet Protocol version 4. And you want to go to Properties, and you'll be inserting information. The primary server from your namebench results will be going into the preferred DNS server, and the alternative DNS server will be your secondary server. Put those in, make sure you click Use, click OK, and then exit that. It may take a moment or a second for your connection to the internet or to the router. The network will take a second, and then once it's connected, it should be running on that. Then you can run speed test or Google test to check your speed and see how efficient. What you're looking for is how stable it is. If it's going up and down all over the place, then it's not the best one. I'll personally be blanking this out because it's for my own personal safety, but my safety of my computer anyway, not the internet like I do. So make sure you get that way. Do forgive the noise. Like I said, it's a fucking bullshit area where they've got a lot of people drinking and carrying on. Anyway, so once you got that out the way, you'll have that set up. Then you want to go into... you want to set up and link it up using the plus sign to set up Blade and Soul. And of course, select your server by going in, selecting it manually and finding the best one for you. For me, it's Dallas 4. Now, typically people explain that you don't need to actually launch it from here or set it up to make it work. Well, you can actually set it up, but it takes a little bit more effort. Now, I personally like making things easy for me, so I get the investment out of the way, the actual work, and then it's all just click buttons. So what you need to do to get that to launch properly from Ping Zapper, you need to go to the folder, and you want to go and find a file called settings.ini. Just double click it. It runs using Notepad, which is available to any Windows user whatsoever, so you won't have to worry about that. I've been blanking out some information here as well, but the information you'll need is here. You want to copy this particular bit of information into your config file right here, located in parameter or params equals blah blah blah. Make sure you also put your address in there as well of the actual launcher. But you want these two bits here exactly as well. I'll provide in I'll put this in the description as well, just in case. Makes it like you can just then copy and paste, and it'll make life so much easier. But once you've done that, just save it, exit, and then once you double click it, well, I'll turn it on first, and it should launch properly, and you'll pop up with the launcher once it pops up for me. I'm waiting for it. There you go. Right there, done. Works properly. And that's about it. From there, you're paying for also a cheaper service. You're able to do what is essentially optimize your connection. Now, as far as I've got it, I've had my... Now, essentially what I've got it to as low as, say, about... 140. I've seen it drop as far as that in terms of server response time, and probably as far as 290 when it gets really buggy or laggy. It happens, unfortunately. Server, like for example, I get congestion, or they're currently trying to work on getting NBN out here. So from like 10 AM, I'm expected to see my connection drop in and out for no fucking reason because they're fucking with the bloody exchange. But essentially I've got it really low compared to what it was. It used to be about 300 ms, and it could go as far as 1000, which is really bad. And I've made it really playable at this point. Essentially why I've done this extra step here is that it eliminates packet loss, like I said, and it reduces the amount of times your computer has to resend information, which also helps improve the connection. So once you've done all this, your connection should dramatically improve. So anyone who's a overseas user, or any other countries like Thailand, for example, I know some players play NA from there. Maybe Malaysia, I think, is one place potentially. You also got I even know one for a British user who play on North American servers, which is strange. Why you're on North American server? I don't know, but anyway. So they're playing over playing connection. Any of that will improve dramatically, and your connection should improve a lot. Now, if you're living in America, now I'm going to say this to you: if you complain in the comments section that your connection didn't improve at all, and you've got a really low ping already, well, here's the thing: you're already living in a really near the Texas servers in the first place. So poor routing, which would cause a high ping, is probably very minimal compared to, say, someone who lives overseas. It's not a magic bullet that just magically improves everyone's connection. It's more or less a means to minimize over great distances, essentially. You will never really see big improvements for, say, someone who lives very close or within the country of the server's origin. What you usually would see where this is actually worthwhile is, for example, myself connecting to an American server from Australia. So if you're expecting something magical and you're an American and you come to my YouTube channel and you're fucking around in the comment section saying, oh, this doesn't work, it's all skinny. Well, no, it's not. It doesn't work that way. Essentially, you're going to have to understand this. This is only going to really improve for those who are connecting over great distances, because as the distance increases, the amount of poor routing that goes on increases. So VPN services, and well, you can to some extent improve using DNS, but being so close probably won't see much improvement, to be honest. But if you want to see if you can get any improvement out of the DNS section of things, you might be able to do something like that. VPN wise, no, you won't get anything out of it. To be perfectly honest, anyone wants to improve, you really don't need it when you're in America, but I've known some people that maybe are on the West Coast or East Coast, they do it anyway just to get that 10 milliseconds better, but it's up to you. But don't expect a magic bullet if you're in America or you're really close to the server. It's really not worth it. You should be already getting an excellent ping if you're in America. Anyway, anyone who's an Australian, Oceanic sort of area, who doesn't want to play in fucking China or Japan. Japan has got some of the worst social... I can't be fucked with it. It's so fucking boring there. I mean, people there are just boring as fuck. I can't stand it. Even though I get a ping like 90 or something when I improve my connection, it's so fucking boring. I can't be bothered. So this is great for anyone who wants to play on the North American servers. It could also help those who are playing in EA, or EU actually, sorry, my mistake, EU servers. Get that. It might be able to improve it depending on how far away you are. It's always going to play a factor there. If you're really close to fucking, I think it's Frankfurt where the European servers are located. I think so. That's just based on memory. I haven't checked myself. I only concern myself with North American because that's where I play. But from there, you should see massive improvements. But anyway, that's it for me. I do have a few other things I'm working on. I want to get a gold making guide to make I'm thinking maybe a few hundred gold every week. I do believe that's an estimation. I'm still working on aspects of it. It does partly involve... I talk about all aspects. When it comes down to pay to win, free to play, I use everything, to be honest. I make use of the real money I actually spend, and I make use of the time I spend on the game in order to maximize my the gold and to get gear. So I'll be explaining everything there. Also, just do a quick video on how to make your own F2 profile pictures for those who are not fully aware how to do it. It's not hard, to be honest, but I might as well put something up there. I will warn you though, GIFs are no longer an option. They've long since patched it to the point where you can't do that. Whether it will come back in the future, we do not know. Unfortunately, a lot of people tended to put a lot of not safe for work sort of stuff in there, which was pissed them off, not surprisingly. But anyway, hopefully that'll be helpful to you, and I'll see you guys on the next one.